Kembo na Tata Zambi Yamazulu King Fumu Kwakuisa Kembo na Tata Zambi Yamazulu King Fumu Kwakuisa. Brothers and sisters, hear me? How are you all doing? Hope you're doing great. My name is Ikeke. I am a member of the Beulah channel, and I work with the Beulah Charity team. That team is actually led by Brother Mikhael Massa, who, as we all know, has been a great source of learning and support during this period of awakening. You know, we have other great members of the team, including Sister Zuhela, Sister Tanya, and Sister Renee. The Beulah Charity itself is dedicated to supporting underprivileged areas. We aim to build and make improvements in those less developed areas, and our focus will be mostly in Africa. I'm very excited about this project, as we will be, involved in several assignments that is going to have a real positive impact on the people, on the local people, as well as those who plan, eventually to move, members of the diaspora that plan to relocate to Africa. This video, essentially will be just like a soft introduction to describe some of what our mission will involve, which really will be to share information about plants, herbs, and healing. What we want to do is we want to empower our people to better understand their health, and also know about those remedies that they can learn and adopt for overall well-being. And I think a lot of this knowledge is going to be extremely useful for those who plan to relocate, and even if for those who don't have any plans to relocate immediately, they can start making changes to their diet, or how they approach eating and food. Obviously all of it is going to depend on whatever information you feel is useful to you, and how you feel it can help you in your daily life. We are lucky our almighty creator has given us edible food for plants, for healing. I always tell a friend of mine, as like, if you're eating healthy, and some people say they're eating healthy, and you find that you're sick, the people who, they take the time to eat healthy food, and they still come down with serious, colds and mucus and all kinds of things, emanating from their body. And, I always say, this usually that is due to a number of things. It could be that, one, maybe you're just not eating the foods that your body needs for a particular function that it performs, which is common as well. But more commonly, what you find is that the food itself so much of it has been altered that it's no longer in its natural state. So it's lost a lot of its healing properties, or even all of it. I mean, there's some foods that have they have almost zero nutritional value in them. Maybe because of the way it's been grown or whatever, just all kinds of things. But a lot of things that affect the healing property of a plant would be things like chemical processing, like what they do, like you have when they transform food into all kinds of fake meat and things like that. There's heat processing, there's hybridization, there's genetically modified crops, there's even fermentation alters the food. Fermentation has its benefits, and it also has its some side effects, and I just feel that we should always know both sides of every concepts like that. Know both sides, so you can understand. If you see something happening when you you consume certain foods, you understand why and what could possibly be causing it. So it's just really about informing yourself, not necessarily depriving yourself, but understanding how certain things could be affecting you. So you're not kind of confused, and then right. So that would be useful. Those are the kind of things we'll talk about. We're going to be focusing a lot on preventative health. Like, don't wait until your until you're sick before you take a step to do something about your health. Know about it, see how find ways to incorporate things into your diet that helps your body start to function in the best way, that it in a better way than it's already functioning. You can it's a process. It's not always like an overnight change. So many of these changes come gradually. Some people just say, I'm done with this health problem, I just want it gone, and I'm gonna change my diet. Some people do that. We'll also focus on reactive. If you're already sick, how are you gonna get yourself well? So just also about knowing that many people like to go to their doctors and ask these questions. Feel free. We always say, do what makes you comfortable. We're just going to provide information. We'll answer your questions to the best of our ability. And if you if you have any doubts, always, obviously, you have a medical healthcare practitioner that you normally go to. Feel free to always talk to them as well. The aim here is to empower you to take decisions, better decisions, more informed decisions, because there are a lot of things about food, about health, that unfortunately our doctors don't always tell us. And if they did, it would be very helpful to us. I think we'll have fewer visits to their offices if we knew some of these things. So we'll do as much as possible to share some of that information with you. And ultimately, our aim here is to make this health journey fun, easy, and adventurous. It should be something that when something is fun, what happens? You want to do it. So we're going to try and make it as fun for everyone as possible. And obviously, we will be asking you for your questions, the things you want to see, you want to talk about. We'll do our best to accommodate everybody's requests. And also, if you have any questions, we'll do our best to answer. And I know, actually, for those eventually who plan to relocate to Africa, we'll talk about many foods and plants and you're likely to encounter. We'll also talk about practices that help you survive out there. Just things that we don't always have all the conveniences over there that we have here. So there are little things that we can show you how to just make life easier. We'll talk about this in also future videos. And when you learn about these herbs, you can also cultivate them. You can even get yourself a little garden. When you relocate, you have your little house, you have a garden. You can plant these things. The soil there is great. There's a lot of rain, and it's you can plant the herbs, use them around the house, incorporate them into your life, and however, before we go on, please note that this video is for informational purposes only. We want to empower you. We want people to do some research and decide what works best for you, what is going to work best for you based on information we have provided. And that way, your decisions, when you take a decision, it's informed. You say, this is why, and you understand better. It's easier to make certain decisions then, because you understand how, how things work as regards your health and the food that you eat. Okay, and so next I'm going to pull up some slides. We're going to go over just a few things that we will also visit on this channel, and to give you an idea of what to expect. And obviously we'll also be taking some of your suggestions, and we look forward to the journey. Thank you. I must mention here as well that poor health, sicknesses, diseases, sometimes it's as much a spiritual problem as it is a physical problem. So sometimes your health has to be approached from two angles. Not only the food you eat, but sometimes it could be you need prayer, you need deliverance. Sometimes it's not even the food, it's just you need deliverance. So also, I think in future we'll make videos about that and just keep you informed. It's always good to have a full picture of your health and what are all the possible causes. Okay, so we're going to be going over some slides. Okay, so what we're going to be doing here is we're just going to go over some slides, a few slides, just to give an overview of some of the things that we're going to be dealing with or talking about on this channel, in future videos. The aim here is to give a comprehensive approach, to natural health and healing, and that involves a lot of things. I would say healing has two sides. There's the physical aspect and there's the spiritual aspect, and sometimes it's all from a spiritual point of view, people get healing, and sometimes it's just a physical thing. It's the food, whatever they're eating, sometimes it needs a combination of both. Right. So well-oiled machine. I always, try to compare the body to a well-oiled machine. Imagine you have this really nice car you just bought. It's all new and it's running smoothly. It's just in the best shape. It's quiet. It's fast. It's just smooth and just really good. And you love your car. I mean, you drive it every day. It's all good. And then after a year, you find out it's not sounding so good, And obviously you have the choice to keep driving it, but we know that, for many cars, if you do not take it in for some kind of service, the car is gonna just break down at some point, or something's gonna happen to it where it doesn't work anymore. So what happens? You take it to the garage, and when you get to the garage, they'll tell you, oh, you need an oil change or something. Something needs to be changed. But in most cases, they go on they change your oil, and what happens? They drain all the oil out, put in fresh oil, and voila, your car is driving nice again. It probably won't sound like it sounded the first time you bought it. It's all smooth and good. And likewise, I compare the human body, to that. There are people who, since they were born, have never done a cleanse. There some people have food that they ate years ago still hanging around in their bowels. I mean, that happens, and that kind of situation usually does not bring about anything good for you. The body, if you put in food, because food, breaks down, it has to go bad. If it goes in, it should be out. Personally, I'd say within 24 hours, you should not be keeping food that you ate more than 24 hours in your body. It should be leaving, that's usually one good way to make sure that your body is not blocked. You don't, get a lot of blockages in your body, but the path to being a well-oiled machine, you're making your body a well-oiled machine, is really through regular cleansing. It's a good thing to have. It's a good habit to form. You can do it through fasting. You can do it, fasting for periodic. Some people fast like maybe once a month. We fast on fruits. Some people fast maybe once a year, just to do it like a cleansing, a cleanse or a detoxification. Some people do that periodically, and some people do it daily. They just choose what they eat very carefully, so that the body has what it needs to clean itself out. The body is a self-cleansing machine. If you give it the right tools to work with, it will repair itself, it will clean itself out, and we were
We are fearfully and we are wonderfully made by the Most High. This body of ours is very resilient, and it's made to do wonderful things. You know, the big problem has always been the kind of food we put in our mouth, the kind of food we eat, what we choose to eat. So, you know, when we have like a deeper knowledge of what this food can do for us, as well as what various types of food can, you know, what kind of problems potentially some of these foods can bring about in your body, then with that, when you're armed with that kind of, you're armed with that kind of knowledge, like you really understand what is going on in the background. It's very empowering. It helps you make better choices with your food. When you feel something going wrong, you know exactly why it's going wrong, and you can, you know, take steps to correct it. You can. The bottom line is that you are no longer at the mercy of your doctor. Certain things, they're only truly trained to give you medication to deal with the symptoms of your problem. So the real cause is never really dealt with. And as a result, many people, you know, find themselves going back for more and more, you know, medication or more doctor's visits and whatever, because the cause of the problem was never dealt with. So we're going to how to put yourself in the best position to become a well-oiled machine. And what are the advantages? Your mind is clear. When you have done an oil change, your mind becomes clear. You're sharp. You have tons of energy. You might not necessarily have zero inflammation all the time, but you know, you bring it down to a level where you know you're just aiming for that. You're aiming for that zero inflammation, where your body is just happy, and it has everything it needs to just clean itself out and heal naturally. And another big advantage is being mucus free. You know, the mucus, like Dr. Sebi said, there's only one disease, and it's mucus. And I totally agree with him, because from that point of view, he healed just about every disease known to man, and he has Supreme Court records to prove it. So, you know, if we had more practitioners like him, there will be less people suffering in the world from so-called incurable diseases that have already been cured by people like Sebi. But you know, with time, that we believe this will change by the grace of the Most High. This will change. Okay, so
the earliest mention, you know, of herbs as a source of healing is in the Bible, I believe, which is Genesis 1:29. And the Most High, he said, "Behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food." And if you notice how every time he talks about a plant, he talks about the fact that it has seed. And you know, the ones that are seeded, usually they're ones you find in the wild. They grow naturally. They're naturally, they have been created or grown or even hybrided in according to natural, as it would happen in nature. Basically, you know, you're not doing anything unnatural, like trying to cross an orange with a mango or a cherry with a carrot or something. You're just strange combinations like that, which it would never happen in nature. So that's kind of the difference there. And also, if we talk about traditional approach to medicine, allopathic approach to medicine, there, you know, before the Westerners came with their brand of medicine, we had our ancestors here. We had great knowledge about herbs and healing, and this was passed down from generation to generation. You know, and then eventually the Europeans brought their own brand of medicine, and also with them diseases, you know, they've unfortunately, when they came in with colonialism, they demonized a lot of the ways and healing practices of our forefathers, you know, making it sound like theirs was better when, you know, in fact it wasn't, you know. And unfortunately, with a lot of the indoctrination through education, media,
they've just systematically destroyed a very well-ordered and, which in my opinion was a great way of life among our people. But that's a topic for another day. Like I said, allopathic medicine has its advantages, but it also leaves a lot to be desired. It's a great topic for a different video. We can just compare and see, between the two, our traditional ways and the allopathic system. So let's see. All right, so let's see if we can go on to the next slide. I love this saying from Dr. Sebi. He says, if the Creator had intended for the human body to be opened up, he would have put a zipper on it. Yeah, our bodies don't have zippers because it wasn't really made to be opened up. The food was supposed to be our medicine. We're supposed to be in good health. If the only time the body would be opened up if there's an accident, usually, and then you can sew it back up. That's different. But to open it up and take things out, that was never the intention. And I strongly go for this point of view expressed by Sebi, because Sebi, let's give an example. Let's just say, how does allopathic medicine and a natural healer, how would both approach a brain tumor? A medical doctor would tell you, oh, there's a tumor in your brain, it's growing bigger, and if you don't take it out, it's gonna, kill you, basically. So they would schedule you for, sometimes if you have the money, they might even fly out some expert from Sweden to come and help you, to come and do the operation. It's very, it's a tricky thing. It's touching this and this in your brain. So if they're not careful, they could, they don't want to make you a vegetable for the rest of your life. So they have to be careful when taking it out, all these things. And obviously you have a bill of maybe 50 to 100,000. Luckily, if you're lucky, you'll have good insurance. If you don't, God help you. And then so what do? They cut your head open, take it out, and then take it back. If you're lucky, you will survive that operation. If you do survive the operation, I'm almost 100% sure that you'll never really be the same again. In some way, something. It's just side effects is like a brainchild of, I don't know how to call it. Side effects is just something that allopathic medicine seems to really specialize in. I've never seen anything where almost everything the doctor does has side effects. If it's surgery or it's medication, then there's always some side effect. But anyway, the point is that is how they would approach the brain tumor situation. But the natural healer will look at you, ask you what the problem is. In his mind, he already knows that what's going on internally. He knows what's causing it. And what he would do, he would put you on a restricted diet, and he will give you a few herbs. And if it's a healer who knows what he's doing, like Sebi, like people like Morse, Dr. Morse gave somebody a lady who had a tumor in her brain, and she after a few days, the tumor came out of her nose. Her body, after she started on the herbs and the diet, her body released the tumor because it didn't need it anymore. The tumor was the body's way of protecting itself, taking things out of the body and putting it inside the tumor to protect itself. But the problem is that when it grows too big, what happens is when it kills people. The tumor itself might not necessarily kill you, but it's not meant to. It's when it starts to grow, I guess, when it starts to grow too much, that it becomes a danger. But the body is using it to store things that it doesn't know how to get rid of it, because in many cases, why is there a tumor? The lymphatic system, the lymph nodes are blocked. They're not functioning the way they're supposed to. So the body finds out a way to store things. Okay. So the difference is that the healer doesn't need to cut you open. He will just give you what you need, and your body will release the tumor itself. That's how they treat. You talk about fibroids, talk about all kind of diabetes, HIV, all kinds of ailments. Dr. Sebi has healed all of them. He will give you herb. That tumor will find its way out of your body by itself. The body will take care of it. So that's one big difference between how they would do the same thing. And another difference is that what is the likelihood that of it coming back? If the body is healing itself, it's kind of dealing with the cause of the problem. That's why it's able to expel that tumor. But in the case of the allopathic approach, they're not telling you why that tumor is there. They haven't removed the reason for that tumor. So it could come back because you haven't dealt with the cause of the problem. Right? So they're only dealing with the symptom, which is removing the tumor. The tumor is the protective thing that the body used to try and deal with the situation, because it didn't know how else to do it. It didn't have the capability to expel those things through another means. So it created a tumor to put things there, but so the two approaches are very different. And personally, if I heard of both of them, I'd go look for a traditional healer. I wouldn't put myself in the hands of a knowing what I know now, I wouldn't. But each to their own. We're not asking anybody not to do what they want to do. You do your own research and you decide what is best for you. And I will always keep stressing that, because we're not here to tell anyone what to do. We're here to empower you to make decisions. Okay. So why a lot of food today may fail to function as medicine? There are various reasons for that. One of the main things is the soil where it's grown. The food should have healing properties. That is how it's made naturally. But sometimes the soil is lacking in minerals. Sometimes the farming practices are not very good. Like they don't do a lot of crop rotation and things like that. So the soil is not great, and the plants cannot get enough minerals in there to make it a healthy and healing plant as it should be. There's also problems with pesticides, on plants, pollutants in the soil. What happens? The plants absorb all of that, and then it gets into your food and into your body. And unless you're you're in really reasonably good health, this could also eventually accumulate and cause problems in your body. You also have problems with hybridization in an unnatural way, like seedless fruits. That is just not natural. That's not what nature intended, or not what the Most High intended when He created that food. He said He put seeds there for a reason. So when they've tampered with the food and they've taken out the seed, the ability for it to create seed, that plant is no longer in its natural state. It's been tampered with. It's been altered. And in many cases, it has lost its healing properties. And you also have problems with genetically modified plants. Many of these things just don't have the power that they should to do what they are supposed to do for you when you eat them. Okay. And also we'll talk about plants, herbs, the different varieties of them and their uses. We are going to focus a lot on how you can become a well-oiled machine. We'll tell you what you can eat and what you can use and what it can do in your body, and then you decide what can work for you, and how it can. If you think it can help you. We'll also talk about becoming mucus-free and cleaning up your lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is also known as the sewage system of the body. It collects waste from the cells, from every cell in your body. When the cell produces waste, and that waste ends up in the lymphatic system through the lymphatic nodes. And then what happens? The lymph system is now responsible for collecting all that waste and sending it out, making sure it gets to the kidneys for expulsion, making sure that everything that that shouldn't be there, is taken care of or taken out. Because when things become stagnant and blocked. It's an environment for disease, and we don't want to be in that state, basically. So we'll focus a lot on also what can help your lymphatic system function wonderfully. We'll also talk about alkaline and acidic foods, how we can, try to be more on the alkaline side when we eat, and then we talk about seeded and seeded foods. We'll point out a lot of things about those. Also fermenting foods, fermenting, I'm not against fermenting, but I think it's good to know both sides of the coin. Like it tastes great, it's good it would allows you to preserve food for longer, and the best healers I know don't use fermented foods. But I'm not saying here don't eat fermented foods. I'm saying understand what it can do, as well as what are the side effects, so that if you, for example, you eat something and and if something is happening, you understand where that's likely to be coming from. It's just about being informed about it. I love fermented food, but I just don't eat them a lot because I've known of people who have had like problems with candida fungus in their body, and they eat something fermented, and it just seems to make it worse. But some people eat fermented foods and they say it works great for them. So you just gotta know what works for you and choose accordingly. Okay. Also, we'll talk more about plant sources, iron, calcium, many other important minerals. And many people who want to go vegan or who are already vegan, but some of them are having health problems because the food that they're eating, it should help them, but it's not. So these are things we'll talk more about, and just whether you want to be vegan or you want to eat meat or you want to eat whatever you want to eat, just understand what every meal. When you look at your meal, you understand what this is likely to do for you. Okay. And also we're going to look at, if we go over here and the other side, we're just going to talk about herbs in groups, like what are calming herbs, what are energizing herbs, what male and female friendly herbs are there out there. You have respiratory, things, herbs that are plants or foods that strengthen your respiratory system, that those that are good to fight fungus in the body, and also those that are good to prevent common colds and flu. I mean, the last time I had a cold, I remember, was I think it was 2000 and around 2007. Yes, and it's not difficult. You just have to understand what it is that you are eating that will feed a cold or a flu, or that will allow your body to start to create that mucus, because it usually boils down to your food. And also we'll talk more about herbs that help different parts of your body, your eyes, your stomach, your skin, and just different things. And also we'll talk about pets. We might not focus too much on that, but we'll touch on a few things. I have a cat. I feel really, really bad for pets, for domestic pets, especially those ones that are locked in the home all day. Pets are suffering a lot, and they're suffering in silence. They don't have that voice to tell you that the food that you buy on the shelf to give them to eat at home is killing them slowly. A lot of time you see many dogs, by the time they get to 6 or 7 years, they're not looking so good. A lot of them have hip problems, cancer, all kinds of, even cats too, just pets that are in the house. So we'll just find out how can pets benefit from your knowledge of food, of plants. And because at the end of the day, when a cat is out there, he's not going to be eating this cereal or biscuit that you give them every day from the that you get from the shops. It's not going to touch any of that. It's going to eat fresh food out there. So unfortunately, a lot of them are suffering, but I guess people just people do what feed them what they do their best with what is available to them. I guess not everybody has that garden or that outdoor place where the pet can roam and catch food for itself and things like that. So that's not, unfortunately, one of the disadvantages of that. But there are other ways I believe you can also just make sure your pet gets certain things that help their body to handle the some of the terrible food that they have to eat that is provided for them on the supermarket shelves. Okay, so with that, I'll end the presentation. Thank you so much for listening. Just you remember that our human body is a self-healing machine. It will heal itself if you give it the right tools. And we are also very fearfully and wonderfully made. I thank the Most High for that. Feel free to share this video and just also like it and subscribe to this channel. And we look forward to making more videos about various health topics that will be useful to everyone. And we'll just leave your comments below, and we'll be seeing you soon, I guess. We'll be seeing you very soon. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Kembo kembo natata wamulu elimo kembo kembo natata wamulu elimo kembo kembo natata zambi Yamazulu, King from Kwakuisa, Kembo Kembo, Natata Zambi, Yamazulu.